Okay, welcome to TOTHCARDS number 7. It's kind of a continuation from number 6. I'm going to read part 2. So last time I read these 2 cards, and now I'm going to read the letter that was in this envelope. And actually I realized that this is really the first answer I got from Alex Toth. I'm pretty sure according to the date. And you can imagine that I was pretty excited to get this whole letter back after I'd written him out of the blue. Look how beautifully written that is on this note paper in his beautiful lettering. And to me it's still a kind of wonder that in these older times, I guess people probably don't do that as much anymore. They're not pen pals. But these postcards just came through the mail, and you think like they're kind of like a mini work of art almost for fans of the comic books. And I was a fan of Alex Toth and still am. You get used to seeing his beautiful hand lettering in print, then you get this in the mail. So it was really great, exciting. And this, I think, pretty sure was his first response from 8th of April, 1984. So how many years ago, almost to the day? Well, 40, right? Is my math right? 40 years ago. Good Lord. Okay, I'm going to digress. I've got my audience here watching too. There's Bali Woman, Mozart, and Scully. And they're just listening patiently. But he was very generous. He wrote me back all these responses that I've been reading, and there's a lot more. And this is the very first one. And as you can see, it's actually a bit earlier, so the lettering's even better. And I'll start reading. I think I had asked him in my letter about drawing, tips and things like that. Let me just zoom in a bit here. So he said, sketch tips for fun, practice, and variety. Staedtler Mars Graphic 3000 brush pens. Try them in 60 or so colors for line work, fill-ins. Rubber tip acts like bristles. Not waterproof, mind. One color only for doodles. He was just a constant consumer and tester of various markers. And, I sent him bunches of stuff at various times back then, including these, which I've had packages of these for years, which are really nice markers. But anyway, I guess I got the bug from him. I always like markers, but... So he said, not waterproof, mind, one color only for doodles. 3x5, 4x6 hardback pads of medium and a rough surface paper, truly pocketable and inconspicuous, easy handling in tight spaces. And will force further simplicity, speed, fluidity of stronger outlines in your quickies, means quickie drawings, to be gained with help of thicker pens and leads. Try smudging lead with fingertips for tones, for shape studies, eliminating lines thusly. Try outlining subject without lifting pen or lead while studying the same, so that's like one line. Not looking at sketch until outline's complete, and next step, inside shapes, require a peek or two as needed. So here he's saying try outlining subject. He means like the silhouettes, which is a very good idea, of course. And next step, inside shapes require a peek or two as needed. Crazy accidents occur, but fun. Improves hand-eye-hand coordination and acuity. You'll improve faster than you think. RE thick lead pencils. 1. Chunky is 4 inches long black metal clutch barrel. Takes short, thick, soft leads, 2B to 6B. Has a pocket clip. Great for pocket pads above. And I think this is not what he's referring to exactly, but I started using these back then. And it's, Kohinoor with really thick lead. I got to replace it, but really great. Lots of people use these, but it's great for just doing really rough, chunky sketches and not fussing with tiny, fussy details. Onwards. Above all, sketches done are not to be seen by others or for publication, of course. So fear not for failures therein. We all continue to do thousands of lousy doodles, sketches, etc., even finishes, paintings, pages throughout our lives, despite our striving for the impossible, perfection, which can be boring as bloody hell if you do. So feel free when sketching, anything goes. Pile up filled pads in a closet or drawer. Look at them to see progress. Number them as you go. For this recording of same, your secret. See, that's great advice, and I started doing that. I went back to my sketchbook habit. I dated them, and that way you can order them later, because if you don't put a date or some numbering or some kind of ordering principle, years later you don't know which ones came first. And that is if you're so inclined to actually try and sort of review your work and see if you're progressing, degressing, digressing, or going off the beaten path. If you're climbing upwards up Art Mountain, you want to make sure you keep doing that. So putting a date on everything is not a egotistical fetish. It's really just a practical step and component. The advice is really good of not showing them to anyone, because of course that's completely contrary now to what everybody does, which is they do whatever things and they instantly put them on social media hoping to get likes. Now, we all understand that. It's nice to be praised. I like it, so does everybody else like it. We have egos, we're human. But really what you want to do is create a condition where you can fail, because failure leads to success. I mean, these are kind of corny things, but they're truisms because they're true. So you fail by going out of your comfort zone, experimenting. You try stuff, and freehand drawings, making up stuff in sketchbooks. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but sometimes you get incredible breakthroughs. But if you just kind of make that a habit, it's like a testing ground, is what I always thought of it. Like a test bed, like people inventing new airships or airplanes or any kind of invention, racing cars, they test them on a test track or in the sky. It's kind of like that with developing your artwork. You just got to try stuff. He's advising very wisely to not be concerned with showing it to other people. And you can also, back then, with a physical sketchbook, or even now, you can get all kinds of unwarranted and unsophisticated comments. I mean, you can do whatever you want. We're all free, but you put your stuff on the internet as a beginner artist, you're opening yourself and exposing yourself to a huge variety of opinions, and it might even confuse you more, because you might get an experienced person with some wise or sage opinion or advice, but you also might get the random drive-by trolley wacko type people who say mean things and throw you off. So there you go. I'm going to keep reading Alex's advice. I guess I must have sent him work or something, but because he says, yes, Paul, I know your work, posters and covers via Ken's mailing, same to me, fine sketches and observations, soft lead work in particular. As for some of your ink line sketches, too many hairy pen lines, too fine a nib too. Thus my tip for thick pen leads and limit what he was referring to earlier, to use this kind of thing, which I took him up on. See, I didn't mind getting criticism because I opened myself to it. My whole attitude was, he's a master, I want to learn. I mailed him my stuff, and I had to steel myself for, what's he going to say? So he's had some good things, but he also said things like this. And I took it to heart, because I had sent him some very scribbly, unfocused kinds of drawings I've been trying to do of people on the streetcar or something. Anyway, he said, thus my tip for thick pen leads limits the need for many lines to do the work of one thick one, to correct, beef up, etc. Those needless extra hairy lines steal lines and time away from other parts of the sketch, which need them and the time spent on them. To provide new info, detail, etc. In quickie action sketches, that is, when seconds count or you lose your subject's pose. It means live drawing when you're on the street or somebody nearby, they're only posing for a moment. As for pro work advice, I'm no sage. Young, unencumbered, with obviously well-based talent and a good head too, you ought to work like hell, take any and all assignments to stretch, grow, profit in dollars and reputation and visibility. At DC, Marvel, anywhere, to practice your craft, learn it, gain knowledge and cash. Work by mail, express services from anywhere, deliver insured parcels to NYC overnight and the reverse. You don't have to live there. And Toronto's almost an NYC, New York City suburb, not to worry. As for me, a dinosaur and soured outlaw, I'm all but out of the comic book field, doing less work yearly for the NYC boys. When they ask, I usually say no to most barf book stuff. I'm loathed by them for it, feelings mutual. I'm too old, inexperienced, savvy, weary, grumpy, suspicious, correct in my paranoid assessments of the writer-editor book quality, etc., to join him. I've done my share of crap for them since 1944, so no more of it now. A quality job, yes, and he did do a few. After this, of course. But that's a rarity. I won't die rich, Paul, nor happy, but I'm stuck with my narrow, rigid view of what's good for me and what's not. It costs me too much to say no to many dollars from NYC. I admit it's foolish, dumb, but there it is. I had asked him about Bravo for Adventure reprints, and he says, Bravo reprints plus new backup items in color, possibly as a one-shot or miniseries, is now in discussion. Too soon to crow about now. Take my dark views with a pound of salt, for I'm on the other side of the mountain you're eager to climb. I'm coasting, sliding, hanging on. I am soured, and, were I smarter, and much less opinionated and vocally so, alienating the pursers in NYC. I'd just do all the work I'm offered and take the money and run to El Banco, chuckling all the way. But alas, I'm not. And you wonder, how would he have functioned or thought in this modern world of bizarre wonders that's the internet and the comics internet and social media and all the rest of it? I don't know what he would have thought. I guess he would have watched it if he had a computer and knew how to work it. But those are all things for speculation. So in other ways, maybe it's good that he didn't live to see all this stuff. Because certainly the comic book business, he would have been even more disappointed. And certainly most of the things he predicted about its demise and the ruination of their characters, that came true, most of what he predicted. And I had asked him about a book on drawing techniques. And he answers, RE, a book, funny you should ask. I'd like to build a definitive how-to tome on continuity art, embracing the lot from photojournalism to storyboards. And I've jotted notes, chapter headings, doodles, etc., but no framing done to date. Maybe, we'll see. I'd done Sickles for years to write a how-to. No go, then he died. Done means, I think, bugged him about it. No go, then he died. And of course, Noel Sickles is a brilliant cartoonist who did Scorchy Smith and then became an illustrator, and certainly worth looking up. He said, no one's written a proper text on the same. I had asked him about a comprehensive book on cartooning and comics, and he says, no one's written a proper text on the same. It is overdue. Mort Walker's 2 or 3 books on gag stripping are wonderful studies and useful to us all. Syndication continuity's dying fast. So the lowly, cheap comic book is adventure's last bastion. Pity it's so poorly served. And he loved adventure stories and Errol Flynn movies and all that kind of thing. Hope I've not depressed you and Ken too much by all this carping. Best, Alex Toth. And there's his cool signature. So that's a keeper, right? What else can I say, really? Got all these now kind of fading letters from Alex. I got to scan them, which is a project I'm working on. I even had the idea for a book, maybe, to include them in a book and with commentary. And, if anybody thinks that's a good idea, please let me know, because the comments I've been getting really encourage me to keep doing this. And like I said, I've got a lot more to go through. So, the patter at the end, it really does help if you like this video right now, comment, share it, subscribe to my channel, please. Everybody says that, but it really is true, because for the algorithm, and recommending it to other people and all that good stuff, growth of the channel, it really does help any kind of attention like that. So there's my attention hound, my attention-seeking plea for you, valued and appreciated viewers. And we'll see you in the next one. Take care.